Hi everyone, it is time for the May 2018 energy preview. And I don't know about you, but I got swept away with the energies of April, and it was pretty exciting. Sometimes I do these readings just like with everything else. It's hard to do what we know we need to do. So we get these messages from spirit to tell us, "Hey, here's what you can do for your best overall results." And a lot of times we don't end up doing them. It's no different for me, I promise. Life gets in the way. But in April, I was actually able to really dive fully into the energies of the month, and it really paid off. We started our spring cleaning actually the end of March. We had a family visit, and so we jumped in. We have rearranged everything in the house. We've gotten rid of old stuff. We've made way for new stuff. We've really benefited, and it's been a whirlwind month. And it's been tiring, but also very rewarding. I planned to do this energy report last week, but things were crazy, but we decided to take some time to do something together as a family, my husband and I and the kids. And so we had a ton of fun. Unfortunately, we think that going out and about among all the people got us sick, so we are feeling the effects this week. So the joys of having children, you get sick more often for whatever reason. I'm sure there's some scientific reason out there, and my husband tries to tell me, but I'm too tired and sick to know. So to pay attention. So feeling sick and tired. I've been not wanting to work hard this week, but still having to do, you still have to do your work, right? And so it's been challenging to find that balance of what I have to do and what I can get away with putting off till later, because if we force through the sickness too much, then we can just make things worse. I was sitting here contemplating. I'd hit a wall with trying to do some work that I was wanting to finish today. Hit a wall with it, and it was not my energy. It was actually technological issues. And I finally stopped instead of just pushing against that wall, pushing and pushing and pushing, because sometimes, whenever you have to keep pushing, sometimes that's a sign, hey, step back, relax, take a calm look at things, or sometimes listen to your inner guidance, or both. So when I did that, when I just stopped pushing, then I got this message, hey, it's time to record your video, your energy report. I had been trying to figure out when I was going to do that, with spring finally hitting, meaning we need to go out and plant our garden, we need to prepare, we need to mow our yard before it threatens to become a jungle and swallow the house. And so when was I going to get to video? So actually it very clearly came through, my feeling from my guide saying, hey, now's the time, chop chop, let's go. So here we go. And before I get started, I do want to go into just a little bit more detail about what happened since we went into the energies of April, since we embraced them fully. Like I said, we did a lot of spring cleaning. We donated a lot of possessions. We cleaned out a lot of junk, so we threw a lot of stuff away, what couldn't be given away or recycled. We recycled a lot of other things. We ended up rearranging, I think, every room in our house except the kids' room, which basically gets reorganized every day. And the bathrooms, there's nothing to move there. New possessions have come in. Our income has shot up. We've had a ton of energy. Like I said, we've gotten a little tired, but we've had a ton of energy. So even though things were crazy and we'd been doing a lot, we decided to go on a family adventure for a day. We've been shifting our sleep habits because our oldest child is going to be starting kindergarten in the fall. And so we're shifting our sleep habits so that we are all prepared to get up early enough in the morning to get her to school. All of that. We embraced everything fully, getting rid of the old, letting the new flow in, just kind of going with the flow. That was what the month was all about. And it really has paid off in spades, in energy, except for this illness. Although we are doing much better than with previous illnesses. So it really has paid off. So with that in mind, I hope that April was as good and rewarding for you. And you'll remember that at the end of my last video, I said that I don't think that the fantastic things were here yet, but that we were on our way to fantastic things. And that's what I'm keeping in mind as I look to May, asking how in the world we can keep the pace up that we have been keeping in our family with things that we had hoped would do really well, not panning out, and how we're questioning how we're going to keep going and what we're going to do in the future. The way things are working, they are not at all like we had envisioned, which of course is life. So let's look at the energy report for May and see what it can offer to us. We're going to start by consulting the rune cards to see the overarching energy of the month. And as so often happens, I am once again drawing from the bottom of the deck. And we have we have Nauthiz, which is need. Other terms are suffering, limitation, and fear of failure. So overall, this can be taken as a negative interpretation. But what I'm getting is that we actually need to be on the lookout for fear of failure and limiting ourselves, so that we may face some challenges this month, but we're only going to suffer if we impose that on ourselves by fearing failure and seeing that limitation, limiting ourselves. This is another rune that doesn't actually have a reverse. Let's see. If you look at it, quote, right side up, you see the angle. But if you turn it upside down, it's the same image. So the reverse on the card says endurance, persistence, and refusal to surrender. So again, it's don't fear that failure. It's that fear of failure that can lead us to not even try something or to assume that we are doomed to failure. And if we assume we're doomed to failure, obviously we are doomed to failure. And so I'm being reminded here to refer to my meditations with Fulla, which were published on my blog a couple of weeks ago, last week and the week before, because I had enough meditations with her that it actually led to 2. She very much addressed the issue of limiting beliefs, and I don't even remember if the blog posts I made addressed this, but Fulla very much talked to me about addressing those limiting viewpoints and how to get past our fear of money and our fears that limit us in embracing abundance. So because Fulla is being brought to mind, I'm getting very much that this is an economic, that this card is mentioning economic issues very much. Again, that fear of failure, suffering and limitation and need and lack. That's what we need to be on guard against this month, is the fear of lack, especially financially and with regard to possessions and abundance. Don't fear failure, step out there. Because the runes are very much packed with meaning, and it's subtle meaning, I always like to check in with Ralph Bloom's interpretation of them, which I have found over the years to be fantastic, spot on. The key word he gives here is actually constraint. He points out that I'm holding the book. He points out that the lesson here is to learn to live, to work within constraints and to not take the world personally. So he's referring to the constraints that we place on ourselves and that the world places on us. And again, this month, I'm really getting the feeling, though, that it's constraints that we put on ourselves more than the constraints that the world puts on us. Oh, or the constraints that we believe the world is putting on us that are actually internal. That's the key right there. I felt that one big time. So the real thing here to work on is your shadow self. Look at those things, those stories that you're telling yourself, and about the things that the world does to you and that you do to yourself that you're unable to do because XYZ, because I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not educated enough, or My neighbor would let this happen. My boss would never agree. So it's really take a chance, get out there, try it. We're going to consult the Archangel Raphael Healing Oracle cards. That's really a mouthful. I think I'm just going to start calling them the Archangel Raphael cards and see what it has to offer us in the way of advice on how we should heal this aspect of our shadow self, the limitations that we are putting on ourselves, and how to work with those and around those, to get around them, to heal them, more than to get around them. We're not trying to avoid them. We're trying to look at them and address them so that we can clear them away so they aren't blocking us anymore, because my focus is always on healing. And as a friend pointed out to me, my focus is always on healing, even when I don't think it is. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward. Okay. So, excuse me. The card I drew here is exercise is key. And we have an angel holding some weights there. And the guidance offered here by Doreen Virtue in the book, and the message here is that is offered by Doreen Virtue in her book, is that we need to add exercise, more exercise to our routine, or a different type of exercise. So it's either we're not exercising enough, which most of us don't, or if you are exercising consistently, maybe you need to consider adding in another type of exercise, a different type. So for example, if you are always weightlifting, perhaps you need to add something that works on your flexibility, like yoga or Tai Chi. If you're a runner, perhaps you need to work on weightlifting. But the key here is, she mentions resistance very specifically in this book. And she says, even if a consistent workout routine seems unfeasible because of schedules or health or finances or other apparent blocks, Raphael can help us find a practical and enjoyable exercise avenue. And I can speak to this from experience. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with idiopathic intracranial hypertension, and all of the doctors said, you have to lose weight or this will never go away. Now, the problem with that being is that these are debilitating headaches. It's a buildup of cerebrospinal fluid. You have excessive cerebrospinal fluid in the spine and the brain, or in the spine and the skull. So it's exerting tremendous pressure on the spinal cord and on the brain, and causes all sorts of problems. Many problems that are pretty bad. I lost a lot of my vision from that. So to get back to point, they tell you that you have to exercise. Well, you have to lose weight. So if you want to lose weight, you have to be active, right? Or you have to go through gastric bypass surgery, something like that. But physical activity, often causes even more pain. I'm not sure what the mechanism is, except that if you already have headaches and you're probably on medicine for this, and you try to exercise, it makes the headaches far worse. So for months after my diagnosis, I couldn't exercise. They told me that I needed to lose weight, and so I tried, but I couldn't exercise without god-awful headaches. So what I had to do was not follow traditional exercise routines. I started with very low impact things. Yoga, for one. Yoga was very good, although I had to modify some poses. I couldn't do some poses because of the way that gravity and the fluids in the body worked. And isometric exercises. So no weights, no tremendous force. And I had to do little bits at a time, 5 minutes at a time maybe, and then come back a half an hour later and do 5 more minutes. I couldn't even clean my house. So it might take me all day just to say clean out the refrigerator. And by clean out the refrigerator, I mean take things off the shelves and wash the shelves. Okay, so I had those limitations, and I still managed to find time to exercise because, not because I bought into the losing weight, but because I've always been active. I still don't believe that losing weight is the issue, but that's another thing, because I have been basically symptom free since I got active. But the point is, exercise helped me feel better. And even though I had headaches, and I talked to my doctor said, well, if you're getting headaches from exercise, you just can't exercise. You're going to have to lose weight some other way, or you're going to have to just accept that you can't exercise. That didn't work in my brain, because there's way too much in the world I like to do, and I like to move, and I lead a largely sedentary life, but I like to walk, I like to move, I like to do things. I wouldn't let that hold me back. So in the same way, don't let things hold you back. Even if it's 5 minutes here and it's 5 minutes there, do it. So with constraint being the issue this month, exercise. Exercise is the key, as the card says, because even though we're looking at abundance and financial issues, that's the message I'm getting. Exercise really makes a big difference. It gets oxygen in your bloodstream. It clears your mind. It helps you feel better physically, gives you more energy. Trust me, it gives me more energy. I notice on the days when I don't exercise because I have children and life happens, I notice a big difference. So I try not to let that get in the way. So whenever I feel bad, I go outside just to walk to the mailbox to get a little bit more energy, get the heart pumping. It makes a huge difference. So this month, get out there and exercise. Do it in a different way. If what you've been doing is consistent and there's a lot of it, try something different. Try something that will get your brain and your body to work in different ways. It'll change your perspective. And if you're really stuck in limiting beliefs and you're constrained by those limiting beliefs, do something different. Do something different in your exercise. It will get your brain and your body working in totally different ways, and you will feel those new ideas and that new way of being come in and make a real difference. The prayer that Doreen Virtue offers here, I think, is very good, so I'm going to end with that. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for motivating me and guiding me to an exercise program that fits my schedule, interests, and budget. And I would add to that, and also thank you for helping me to identify my limiting beliefs so that I can acknowledge them, see the purposes they have served in my life, thank them, and release them so that they no longer hold me back. They have protected me in the past, and I acknowledge that and let it go. Ready to move forward to new abundance every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you.